Sick Kids Hospital now warning some parents they may need a prescription to access things like children's Tylenol and Advil.
CP24's Eden Debebe joins us live now outside of a Shoppers Drug Mart with details on this story. So Eden, how will this work with the prescription Tylenol, even though it is not a prescription medication?
Well, that's the big question. And to get a better idea and more answers, we're joined today by Jen Belcher, who's the Vice President of the Ontario Pharmacists Association. Jen, thank you so much for taking the time.
Eden, thanks so much for having me.
Let's start with the big question on many parents' minds, which is why is this happening? We know back in 2020, it was due to an increase in demand. Now we're not exactly sure why. A supply chain issue? Can you give us more information on that?
Yeah, so we've been experiencing shortages of many over-the-counter as well as prescription medications through the course of the pandemic. There have been supply shortages throughout various stages in manufacturing, as well as labor shortages in plants that either manufacture or wholesale these sorts of products. And coupled with an increase in demand due to more children becoming ill using these products, we're seeing a surge in demand as well as a shortage in supply, and that's created the situation where you see very few products on the shelf.
Well, you talk about an increase in demand. We're going into the fall. Many physicians concerned that there might be another wave of COVID-19 coming to us very soon. Parents already nervously stockpiling, buying up what little stock there is left. Do we have an idea of when there might be relief in this supply delay?
It's really hard to say at this point in time. I'd say even if there were recommended or suggested return dates, that people take those as a guideline rather than an absolute and not count on those dates, because we could see further supply delays.
Absolutely. And when we talk about alternate options for parents at Kids Hospital, suggesting to their parents, or at least with kids at the hospital, to get a prescription from a doctor. But of course, that can be difficult for parents who are already dealing with a sick child. Do you think that's fair for the onus to be on parents?
Well, I want to be clear that this doesn't change the fact that these products can be purchased without a prescription at a pharmacy. It just may have to be through a different channel where you go to the pharmacy itself and request to purchase a small amount from the pharmacy stock bottles, because those products are still currently available. But having a prescription is also one route that can get you that result, and Sick Kids is likely recommending that they will provide those prescriptions to their patients to make that channel easily available to them. But it is not required, and parents won't require a prescription to be able to access that product in a pharmacy.
So just to confirm, if they don't find it on the shelves, they can go to the pharmacist and ask for some of the stockpile without getting a doctor's prescription now?
Correct. We are able to repackage smaller quantities from our larger bottles without a prescription, and the pharmacy may do that. It'll just take some labeling to ensure that you have all of the information that would be needed to recognize what the product is, when it expires, and how to use it safely. That being said, there are also other options, such as chewable tablets or using the oral tablets if the dosing is appropriate. However, it's always recommended that you talk with your pharmacist or with your primary care provider before you switch formulations, so you know what dose you're giving your child.
Well, I'm sure that'll come as a welcome news. I don't think many parents knew that they could come up and ask the pharmacist without a prescription. Let's talk a little bit about smaller pharmacies. We're outside of a Shoppers Drug Mart right now, but there's a lot of mom and pop shops also struggling with this shortage. Do you know how they're being notified of the supply chain issue and when they'll know when things might get back to normal?
Absolutely. I actually practice at a small community pharmacy myself, and ultimately we do have notices from our pharmacy wholesalers, which is where we buy our products, about the unavailability or anticipated return date of products, as well as there is a national website that keeps track of some of these shortages called drugshortages.ca.
Welcome news. Thank you so much, Jen Belcher, for joining us today. A lot of important information.
Thank you so much.
They're sending it back to you, Chanel and Jennifer. A lot of interesting information for parents, also for those who run a pharmacy, and a lot of things to take note moving forward. Sending it back to you.
All right, Eden, thanks so much.